Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Sean's Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everybody that watches, everyone that tunes into the live. We thank you all for being here. And before we get too far ahead, let me first thank Ryan Swayze. He's doing the mod for me again. Ryan's the best in the business, so thank you, Ryan, for helping me out with this. And now let me introduce my guest. So first, I'll just go up here in the top corner. Mike coming back with me from Mike and Serial. Mike, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be back on this live. I love being on Sean's Horror Corner. It's so much fun. So thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mike and I, we are going through the Conjuring universe right now. We just did an episode here a while back on The Nun. And pretty soon we're going to be doing Annabelle Creation because we're going through them chronologically. So that's been fun. The Nun, not a great movie, but it was fun to talk about.
Yeah, it was a great discussion. I had a good time with a bad movie.
Yes, absolutely. And then my friend Matt joining me. The first time Matt's been on my live, but Matt, Creation World, not your main thing, but I know that Ryan put the link up there. I'll show that here in a few minutes. Also, getting off the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Speaking of having fun with bad movies, Sean and I have been going through Wrong Turn,
Yeah.
and it's been fun. It has, and I'm happy to be here. I told Sean, I was like, listen, I know you do lives. I would love to come and do a live with you. I want to meet some more horror content creators. Hi, that horror couple. Hi, Ryan. Hi,
Absolutely,
Rob.
yes.
Hey, everyone in the chat. But yeah, no, I wanted to be here. I've seen his lives. I've seen you guys. It looks so much fun. I wanted to be a part of it. So I'm like, hey, can I do that? And he's like, well, what are you doing Tuesday? And I was like, nothing. He's like, Black Phone, and I'm like, yeah, I could do that. So we're here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've done four wrong turn movies so far. Two of them are good, two of them are not. We'll just leave it at that from where we at so far. There's the link to Creation World, so go follow that. And we'll give both of these guys a chance towards the end here to talk about what they're doing and what's going on. Isaiah from the Bitter Wolf was going to be with us, but Isaiah is working tonight. He's having to put in some hours. So there's the link to Voices from the Mausoleum. So be sure and go follow Mike. Let's see here real quick. Of course, we have Ryan. I talked about that. Let me try to catch up before things get crazy on me because this chat, I have such a hard time keeping up sometimes. There's that horror couple. Thank you so much, Robbie and Kaylee, for being here. Robbie's still complaining about a episode that we recorded last night that will be out tomorrow. Yes, I rated Rob Zombie's Halloween a 4 out of 10. I don't like the movie. Sorry. Um,
That's a low score. I agree. It's a low score. And as a fan of the franchise, someone who probably has a very unconventional favorite movie in that franchise, I wouldn't even rate Rob Zombie's a 4 out of 10. I'd probably go a 5.5, 6. H
okay.
two, I'd rate a lot lower. But the original, I mean, it's Rob Zombie's take on Halloween, so it's going to be redneck horror. That's what you're getting, and that's what it was. I'm
Yeah.
okay with Trailer Park Michael Myers. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I didn't like it myself, but I get it. And Robbie and Kaylee are both big fans. So, and we do have Mr. Humphrey here. Rob Humphrey, as everyone already knows, Slasher Radio. Rob is my hero. I want to be just like Rob when I grow up, is what I keep telling everybody, which apparently scares some people. Maybe I shouldn't be shooting for that as my goal, but anyway, that's the way it is. All right, let me see. There's the link to Slasher Radio. So that is good. While I'm trying to catch up, let's go ahead for a minute. There's Tony. Hi, Tony. Thank you so much for being here as well, sir. Um, yeah, see, Rob's 4 out of 10 is too high for that movie. Uh, yeah, I barely gave it the 4, but I did. Mike, go ahead and talk for a minute about Voices from the Mausoleum and what you have going on over there, sir.
Yeah, as always, you can find any updates on things that I'm doing on my Instagram page, mostly Mike and Serial. That's Serial like the killer, not the box. I'm using Blue Sky a little bit more, so you can follow me there as well. And then also follow Voices from the Mausoleum YouTube channel, where we do Found Footage Fridays mostly, and right now we're just kicking into gear because the Sacred Crypt Awards voting ends next week, September 3rd, and then we're kicking into full gear, getting everything together because the live award show will be towards the end of September, so we'll give you more information on that. And then you can also follow Maniac Sock Short on Instagram because we will be coming up with some major updates soon. So you definitely want to gonna be updated and follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Voices from the Mausoleum. Check out Mike and Serial, and check out Maniac Slot. That's all going to be a lot of fun. Matt, where can everybody find you, sir?
You guys can follow me everywhere at Getting Off. That's the easiest place to do it. And if you go to Linktree/Getting Off, it'll get you the links to everything you need to know. As far as what we've got coming up, you guys can join us this Sunday live at 9 p.m. Central. It is what we call our Katie Horror Showcase, where my co-host Katie is running the show, and I pick a movie that she has never seen for her to watch. And this week, it is Joyride.
Nice.
She's never
Sick.
seen it. I keep telling her it's a Fast and the Furious prequel. She's not buying it, but it's Paul Walker driving a car, and it's about family. So I don't know how much more Fast and Furious we can get.
It's fair.
And it's a bi-monthly podcast. We do episode every other week, and we've got Predator coming up. We just ran through Alien. We have trivia, actually, is the next episode after the Katie Horror Showcase, so you guys can tune in and see who will face our good friend Sean, my co-host Reek, and from the Final Girls, Kelly, who is our current champion, in the finals at the end of the year. See who qualifies to face them. And the theme is all things Evil Dead. So if you are an Evil Dead fan, you want to come play along in the chat for some Evil Dead horror, that is in about a month. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Check out Creation World. Check out Getting Off. Always good stuff on there. All right. So we are going to be talking the Black Phone franchise. Very curious to get the two of you guys' opinions on that. Before we do, I mean, everybody knows I'm a collector. I try, if I have anything special from the franchises or whatever we're talking about, to show it. I don't have a lot of Black Phone merchandise, but I do have 2 Funko Pops. I'm going to show those real quick. Are either one of you guys into Funko Pops?
I do have some. I have sold off most of them, mostly because I have kids now, and keeping things as a collector with a 5-year-old and a 1.5 was not working. But I do, and I have a few really cool ones back there.
Okay. Mike, are you a Funko Pop guy?
I like them. I don't collect them.
Okay.
I have I have 2 and a knockoff.
Okay. That works. I collect quite a bit of stuff. I have stuff everywhere. In fact, I'm out of shelves. I need more shelves. And I keep having people tell me that maybe this is a sign that I need to stop. And I quickly block those people from my life because I'm not here to listen to that
Who needs
bullshit.
that negativity?
As you should. No negativity.
So we've got these 2. The Black Phone, this one here, it looks like he's holding the belt from the first film. This one, he's got his glasses and everything on. Sorry about the reflection. But yeah, that's really all I've got. There's a Toonie Terrors Black Phone out there somewhere, but I don't have it yet, and that's a crime. So we're going to have to fix that soon. All right, let's start here again. I'll just start up at the top. Mike, the Black Phone, the first film. Give me your thoughts on this movie.
I think it's one of the better Blumhouse films that have come out in a while. And Rob, I would take your concerns to Angel. I'm sure she would love to hear from you about how you weren't nominated.
Yes, it's a travesty. I understand, but Rob should be nominated for all things all the time. So we're sorry about that, Rob. Maybe next year. Continue, Mike.
But yeah, I think it's one of their better films that they've had in a long time. I think it's a low bar that was set, and I think that it's an interesting movie. I think they handled they made some interesting choices that led it to feel like a movie that I have seen before, but I feel like they were trying to touch on topics, but they decided to scale back. So I was left a little like meh about that part of it. But it's a fine movie.
Okay. Matt, what about you, sir? Your thoughts on the first film?
I like the first film now. Black Phone 2 helped me along the way with liking the first film because the first film isn't the kind of horror I generally gravitate to. There's not a whole lot going on. It is a lot of story and not a lot of action. And even though over at Getting Off we say we are lore horrors, I still need a bit more action than what I got the first time I watched it. So I was like, this is all right. I just kind of, I watched it once. I'm like, I'm probably never going to go back to this. Then I started hearing about Black Phone 2 and some of the things people were saying, and I'm like, well, let me watch that. Before I watch that, let me refresh myself. And watching those two things together and starting to get this picture of what I had seen people talking about, I
Right.
appreciated it more because now it felt more like a prequel to something greater than
Okay.
just an original film for me, which we'll get into when we get into the second movie more. But
Sure.
um, I mean, Ethan Hawke was great. He was creepy. He was, whatever. But like I said, for me, I wanted a little more action. There wasn't a whole lot going on. The first time I watched it, I appreciated it much more now.
Okay. I get that actually, because I was kind of the same way. The first time I watched The Black Phone, I came out thinking, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not bad, nothing special, but it was all right. Um, but even before I saw the second one, I went back and watched it again, and there were some things that stood out to me a little bit more. I think there's some really good scenes. I still don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's a really good movie. And I feel horrible because I'm drawing a blank right now on the name of the actress, the little girl that plays the sister in that movie. But I think she's incredible. She does such a good job in that movie. She almost steals it, in my opinion. She cracks me up at times, but I think she gives a really solid performance. And so the first film was growing on me before I even saw the second one, and then after seeing the second one, I decided I liked the first one even maybe a little bit more. So it's the more I watch it, the more I like it. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times by now. But um, are there any particular scenes or parts in the first film that you really do like, Mike?
I mean, I like you said, I really like the sister. I think any scene with her was a fun time. I do agree with you. I think she stole the show, and I honestly, I unless they do say that they had an idea for the second one from the very beginning, I honestly think the reason why the second one went the way it did was because she was the show stealer in the first movie.
I can see that. Yeah.
I honestly think that that's what it is. Um, I liked I like the setup of this movie. I think it is very of the time period that it's supposed to be. I think that was what did they say 50s or six or no early 70s?
Uh, Early 70s, I believe.
Yeah, early 70s. I liked what they were doing there. I liked how it looked. Um, and I like the school scenes because I do feel that they were touching on things that were very much of those times. I think they either needed to omit some subject matters or fully go into it. I don't like when people like to dip their toe into heavy commentary and then
Okay.
pull back. So I think like obviously there was hints of racism, homophobia, and all of these things, and I just feel like don't don't do it unless you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And that was my like critique there. But I did like that in the school setup of stuff that they were putting that in there because in America, like that's what was happening.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Matt, what about you? Any scenes in particular or things about it that really stood out to you?
Um, when I went back and rewatched it, I started really enjoying the scenes with Finney and the kids on the phone and the conversations they were having as he was prepping himself for the fight. I loved the brother's death. That whole thing was really interesting. And then all of the anticipation you had when he finally got through the wall and he was trying to tip over the refrigerator, the freezer that was
Yeah.
in the way, or when he crept upstairs and you just see the grabber sitting there with his shirt off, asleep on the chair, and is he going to wake up? All of that, because that was kind of what I was there for. Like
Yeah.
the sister, like you guys said, is great. I also agree that I feel like there were some things that they kind of tiptoed around that reminded me of Nightmare on Elm Street, where we've talked a lot about how originally Freddy was supposed to be this person, and
Right.
because of the political climate, they decided to back away from that. And then
Yeah.
when the remake came around, they went right into it, and everyone's like, "Oh, why do we do this?" And it's like, well, because that's what he always was and was supposed to be.
Right.
And the grabber felt very similar in the abuse that he was inflicting on these children, but it was never expressly kind of said or done. It was just alluded to a little bit. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
couple of things that I'll mention because I agree they skated around a lot of things. One area where I didn't feel like they skated around because, like I said, I've seen the movie 4 or 5 times now, and I still think it's uncomfortable for some reason. The scene where the dad is whipping the little girl, that scene's rough. Like that's uncomfortable in my opinion. Like that's still, like I said, I've watched it 4 or 5 times, and every time I watch it, I'm like, that's just hard. Like that's hard to watch, man. And I grew up, I mean, again, I'm old, so I grew up when we got beatings like that, and people didn't call, child protective services. That's just what you got. If you complained, you probably got it again, basically. So it was a different time, but it's still hard to watch. So I thought that scene was very impactful. The scene where Finney is thinking about going up the stairs, and you see the grabber sitting there, and he's got the belt, and he's gotten the phone call warning him, like, don't do it. He's waiting on you, but he's kind of pushing it anyway, and he's thinking about going up there, and then it shows you around the corner where the grabber's sitting there with the belt. I think there's a lot of tension in that scene still. I think that scene holds up really well. I like the finale, the little battle there that he finally does get to have with the grabber, and then when he comes outside and everybody's across the street. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's impactful. It could have been more so had they not skated around some of the other issues, but I feel like with what they did give us, they did a pretty good job overall.
Yeah.
Did you guys the scene where the little girl's getting whipped? Does it bother you, or is that just me?
Oh no, that's a rough scene.
Fair.
Yeah.
Matt?
I mean, I younger than you a little bit, just a tiny bit, but still like same thing. In that time period that I grew up, I was born in '87, so the early '90s, that was all still a thing. It was happening. So yeah, you get flashbacks of certain things that you don't like to remember, but also as a father of 2 little girls, it is very hard to watch. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah, and. My kids, they think they had it rough as little kids, and I'm like, really? Would you like for me to tell you what your grandpa did? Just so you know how easy you do have it now. But yeah, but overall, like I said, I think it's pretty solid. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it a little bit more. So let's get a rating for it then. Mike, what would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the first one?
I am going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I think it's it's slightly above average. For me, I think that there's a lot that is left to be desired for me with this film. I do think that they needed to touch on the subjects that they wanted to touch on. I think that was a big thing for me. Another thing for me is just like, again, in the time period that we are currently in, like we've seen so much, we know how to write characters. I think when we are writing characters of color in movies where they don't necessarily need to be in, I think it needs to be a little bit more thoughtful.
Okay.
But outside of that, I think there is a good storyline in this film. I think it's interesting that it's a horror film that like you wouldn't think needs to be supernatural, but it's kind of cool that it's supernatural also. But I think it's a double-edged sword because I think it pigeonholes them a little bit. It makes it feel a little uneven at times because it doesn't always feel like it works.
Okay. Matt, what about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the first film?
See, I have a hard time with this because I want to rate the film in and of itself and not based off my feelings from what comes next. Because again, what comes next kind of boosts my opinion of the film a little bit. So I was sitting with Mike at about a 6 out of 10, but I think I'm gonna go 5 because if the Black Phone was just the Black Phone, if Black Phone 2 had not come around, that's probably about where I'd have it, right in the middle. It was a nice watch. It was fine. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. So I'm going to leave Black Phone at 5.
Okay. And that's where I would have been probably the first time had I been, doing this channel when this came out. I probably would have been at a 5 myself. Going forward and having seen it now, and like I said, my opinion was growing on it before I watched the second film. I really like this movie. I don't think it's excellent. It's got some issues, pacing a little bit here and there. There is a lot, like you said, a lot of times where something is not happening, but I still really enjoy this movie. I'm a little higher than both you guys on this one. I would give it a 7. I really like the Black Phone. I think it's very solid. Let me see
Looks
here.
like we got an 8 from Rob. We got an 8 from that horror couple.
Nice. Okay. We also have Our Life in Horror. Say hello to Sam real quick. Thank you, Sam, for being here. We appreciate it. I totally missed Rob giving it a score. There you are. I see it now.
However, I was reading the chat earlier, and I saw Rob and Rob talking about their love of Halloween Ends, so I'm skeptical on their opinions in and of itself after that.
Yeah, I purposely didn't put those comments on the screen because as much as I like Rob and Robbie, that Halloween Ends is not good, and it does hurt you when you try to say that movie's fantastic like that. It's really a bummer.
There was a good movie in there. They messed it up.
Yes, terribly.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Horribly.
Absolutely. Ryan Swayze says Black Phone gets a 7. So yes, Ryan is the first person that's been correct so far tonight. So that was a good job by Ryan. What was this here? You have great taste at that horror couple, except for Rob Zombie stuff. I agree. I realize everybody has their own thing, and that's fine. And I'm glad there are people out there that like Rob Zombie stuff. I'm just not the one. But yeah, I mean, other people can like it, and that's fantastic. We're going to ignore that Halloween Ends is a masterpiece. I told you I'm not putting that shit on the screen.
He misspelled disaster piece. I don't know how he did that.
Disaster. I know. Yeah, I will show. There we go.
Rob Zombie's brother is making me like Rob Zombie a little more.
Oh, really? Okay. That's fine. Tony said Halloween Ends gets a 0. Thank you, Tony. I'm glad somebody could say it. That was tough, though. That was even a little more hard than I would be, but okay. What is it about Rob Zombie's brother? We go off on all kinds of tangents here. About his brother that's making you like him more?
That I am appreciating Rob Zombie films the more I watch Spider-1 films. I think Rob's... It's still not great, but I'm just not having a great time with Spider-1's movies. And it's like, now that I've rewatched some of Rob Zombie's, I'm like, all right, well, at least you're giving us something there.
Yeah. My thing is this, and I said this last night. So again, the Rob Zombie's Halloween episode, that'll come out tomorrow that I did with that horror couple. And so if you watch that episode, I'm about to say some things now that I said on that. My problem is this. It helps me, and Matt, you and I talked about this when we talked about Wrong Turn. It helps me if there are characters in a movie that I like. If not, that's fine. Give me some good kills, it's okay. But it helps me if there are characters that I do like somewhat. I can root for them or something going on. And I don't think there is a character in a Rob Zombie movie that I like. They're all the same mold. This is not people that I would find entertaining in real life. I would not want to hang out with these people. I wouldn't want to be around these people. And so if I wouldn't want to be around them in life, they would annoy me. I would think they were trash. Why would I want to watch them on a movie? And that's where it bothers me. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't care what she's doing. Danielle Harris is in that movie, and I would hang out with her any day of the week, regardless of character. I like Danny. I like Danny. So,
No, I did say that. In fact, Robbie called me on that last night because I made that comment, and he's like, you would hang out with Danielle Harris. And I'm like, okay, you got me there. Because, I would absolutely hang out with Danielle Harris. I just don't want to hang out with Annie. But Danielle Harris herself, I'm all in.
No, I'd hang out with Annie. What's wrong with Annie?
She might be one of the better ones, I guess. I don't know. The movie just it caused me to check out. I don't know what the hell here. See, he's still upset. I don't appreciate good art. Okay, I mean, if that's what that was, then I guess you're right. I don't. I thought I did. Rob Humphrey says, call him Rob Zombie for a second. He's now Rob Zombie instead of Rob Humphrey. I haven't seen any Spider-1 films. I was hoping he got all the filmmaking talent in the family. It doesn't sound like it. I don't know if I've watched any of his movies either.
You know what we need a Spider-1 Rob Zombie collab so we can see what happens when worlds collide.
That's a good point.
It's interesting.
Check my letterbox. Last time I watched Rob Zombie Halloween, I liked it more than Sean. I gave it a 5. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Let's see what else we got here real quick. Who wants to hang out with Captain Spaulding or Otis? They're villains. I mean, it's a fair point, but I don't like the people they're after either. Although Captain Spaulding's funny. I will give him that. And the acting is fantastic. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I was like,
Oh, there we
somebody
go.
said something in chat, and I'm glad someone finally said it.
They love it. Yeah, here
Rob,
we go. This is
I'm
what
not
you're waiting
pretending. She's fucking fantastic, and I don't know how you're missing it. I don't know what to tell you.
for.
I
Here's
think it's that she's a genre actress, so we love that she's willing to do all these things.
I've
But
been watching her since she was a child. I saw her on Boy Meets World, and I loved her back
yeah,
then.
I loved her as TK. Like, but she's not great.
I think it depends. I think I've talked with Brendan and Sam from Our Life in Horror before. There's some movies I watch her in, and I think she's very solid. She does a good job. Then I see her in other things, and I'm like, oh, that's not good at all. Like, so I don't think she's a fantastic actress. Her performance is not always good. Some movies she's really good, some movies she's not. But she's Danielle
She's a good
Harris.
actress for straight to DVD.
Okay. She's Danielle Harris. She's hot, so I'll overlook her ability to act sometimes.
Did you not like Hatchet 2 and 3?
Hatchet 2
Not
and 3
as
are
much
fun.
as I like Hatchet
I like
1.
those. Interesting. All right. And
Not my
with
man,
that,
Beth Dunstan.
with Matt, Matt just decided that Mike will not come on trivia. For getting
No, it's just going to be all things Daniel Harris when he does come on. That's all.
there we go. That's
funny.
Uh,
That would be hilarious.
Rob says she's very pretty. By all accounts, not a great person. I mean, I've heard some things I don't really know, but she's one of those people that I really wish I could meet at HorrorCon because I've had a crush on her for a long time. But yeah, we all know I'm kind of a pervert, so we'll just leave that at that. I don't even think she's great, but I love her character, and I'll be Halloween. That's fair. All right, see, I told you we get on tangents because now we're talking Rob Zombie, we're talking Danielle Harris, all kinds of stuff. Let's bring it back in for a minute, and let's talk about the Black Phone 2. This time I'll start with you, Matt. Give me your thoughts on the Black Phone 2.
I really liked this. I really liked the direction they went, and I felt like Black Phone 2 paid off a lot of things in Black Phone 1. Specifically, finding out what was going on with the mom, the reason for the dad being an alcoholic, all of that. And then I alluded to it a little earlier. One of the reasons I went in watching this when I almost thought about skipping it was because a lot of people were talking about how it compared to A Nightmare on Elm Street. And when I got into it and I saw it, I was like, okay, I could see the Grabber becoming that kind of character. I wouldn't put him on the same level as Freddy. He doesn't have the quips or the charisma that a Freddy has, but being this supernatural, evil, mean entity, kind of like he was in the original Nightmare, like I could get on board with that. I could see that. I would watch more of that, and then seeing that, and then watching this prequel of like, it would be like watching A Nightmare on Elm Street before Freddy became Freddy, when he was still just, a guy before he died. And that's what Black Phone felt like to me. And at that point, again, lore horse over at Getting Off, I was like, all right, so I got the prequel, and then I got what I really wanted, because there was more violence, there was more kills. The scene in the kitchen is absolutely fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I really like this. I really like this.
Okay. No, I agree. Before I ask Mike, I'm going to try to go back because I saw some craziness going on in the chat over here. Some absolute craziness. So we're going to try to go address some of these things. Let me just see if I can find them again real quick because there's a lot happening over there. So we're going to start with Robbie. Are you telling me that Danielle Harris has a chance with Sugar Sean Rhodes? Absolutely she would, but we all know that she would not stoop that low. Although Mr. Humphrey says in her dreams, I appreciate you guys like building me up. That's kind. Thank you so much. Yeah, but it's not gonna happen. We can say that the other way around. Black Phone 2 made me realize how much I miss Freddy. That's fair.
This is my favorite one.
Sean would hook up with Danielle Harris and then rate the experience a 5 out of 10. I absolutely would not. I mean, I don't know, but I have a feeling that just because it was Danielle Harris, regardless of how it really went, for me, it's going to be like a 50 out of 10. Now, she might say that was a 5 out of 10, but I'm going to score it much higher than that.
I mean,
Robbie,
to be fair,
you're
Sean,
hilarious.
listen, we've all been there as horror fans, right? We saw a really cool trailer, then we went to go see the movie, and the movie just didn't pay off, right? It wasn't what we expected. So
Yes.
you never know. You may have been watching this trailer for the last however many years, and then you get in there, and you walk out being like, you know what, that was a 5 out of 10. You don't know. You can't say just because it's Danielle Harris.
I
You know?
guess I
You don't
can't.
know.
I think just the fact that it happened, I would be ecstatic and rated higher. Yeah, I didn't like the third act comment. It's just too much. That's too much.
Hilarious.
I don't even know how to fucking respond to that.
I
But
don't think you should get me and Robbie in the same room together because that's just going to be trouble.
it does sound like it. I'm so lost right now. Robbie does this to me every time. This is why when I have that horror couple on, I have other people on. We record for hour 10, hour 15. We chat for a few minutes. We get off here. That horror couple comes on. We record for hour 15, hour 30, and we chat. And I've been on the computer for like 2.5 hours because Robbie's constantly busting my balls. That's just the way it works when he's around. But it's okay. Mike, give me your thoughts on Black Phone 2.
So, one thing I don't like in horror, or in most movies, but in horror, like, I don't mind sequels. I love sequels. I love prequels. I don't like when you have to watch something to really get the other part of it. That's why, like, the MC universe, like, gets to me because I don't want to have to watch 20 TV shows to watch one movie. Like, I still do it, but I don't like it.
Okay.
But in this particular case, I feel like that's what's happening with Black Phone 1 and 2 is to appreciate one, you have to watch the other. They don't work outside of watching them together. And in this particular case, I really do not love Black Phone 2.
Really?
Okay.
And it is for a lot of the reasons why a lot of people did enjoy it. I feel like we have now entered Temu Nightmare on Elm Street, Temu Freddy. Like, it is copycat, not done well. And it stinks because I really do love Ethan Hawke as an actor. But in this, it goes beyond seeing the similarities and seeing the parallels of Black Phone and Nightmare to we're copying the homework for me.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah,
I'm the
I mean, that's
exact
an
opposite.
interesting take. Yeah, I kind of am too. I don't mind when you have to. Now, when you get a lot of movies, yes, sometimes I know it gets difficult. Like, it's going to be Brendan from Our Life in Horror and I are about to go through the Hellraiser franchise, and that's going to be difficult. If I had to go back, take something like that's got tons of movies and most of them aren't good, that would be difficult. But I typically
first
don't
four are
mind. I typically don't mind going back and rewatch. I mean, I'm the guy that I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead, and I know everybody's over The Walking Dead by now. I get it, but I absolutely love that show. And every time a new season was getting ready to come out, it didn't matter if it was season 6, season 7, season 8. I went back and watched season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or like whatever, just to get ready for that new one again. I don't mind that. I can see your point. Sometimes that would get frustrating, but it doesn't bother me. And yes, it's very obvious that there are a lot of there's a Nightmare on Elm Street thing going on here, but I didn't mind it. And again, I thought the performances were incredibly solid. I looked up her name a while ago because I keep forgetting it. Madeline McGraw is who plays Gwen, and just like I feel like she steals the first movie, I feel like she steals this one as well. I just think she's fantastic. The first movie I feel like is supposed to be a Finney story. She just steals it. So the second movie is a Gwen story, and it hits. It works for me. Matt, what were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say I feel like the opposite as far as I feel like you could sit down and watch Black Phone 2 and they give you enough exposition in the film to enjoy it on its own, whereas I needed Black Phone 2 to appreciate Black Phone more. So, also I'm curious, Rob's Humphrey said it doesn't follow its own rules, and I'm curious to what he meant by it doesn't follow its own rules. What rules are we breaking or not following?
Yeah, let us know what you think, Rob. Rob, I will tell you, is normally not a fan of sequels. He doesn't think every movie needs a sequel, which I agree. Every movie.
But he
does not
likes
need a
Halloween
sequel,
Ends, so
no, again, he is Rob, and Rob drinks a lot. So I have a feeling that when he saw Halloween Ends, I have a feeling he had a drink or two maybe there. But let's see what Robbie said. Dude, nobody's watching Dead City, but the episodes are actually pretty good. From what I've seen, yeah, I liked it as well. But I'm a Negan fan. I absolutely love Negan, and I know that's not a popular opinion either. But okay, so back to you then, Mike. since you were not a fan of this one, is there anything about it that you did like? Are there any scenes here or anything that you did appreciate?
I think the storytelling is good. Like, again, it has a cool story, but again, for me, I see too much of it leaning into we're creating we're creating Freddy. Um, I'm trying to think of what the performances are fine. Like, they're all really good actors. They did their jobs well. Um, I'm even trying to think of something that like really caught me that made me enjoy it because I again, I know we're in a different time period. I do not like the way this one was shot in comparison to the first one.
Okay.
So I think that was just kind of taking me out too. I think the scene that stands out to me, and it is because I like drama. I do like some exposition. Uh, I liked when the dad came back and then she's finally convincing him that all this is real. And Finney now gets like understanding of his mom. I liked that scene. I thought that was a powerful scene.
Okay.
They all did a very good job there. But in terms of any of like the horror aspect of this movie, there wasn't really a scene that got me.
Okay. Let's see. So as for the rules in Black Phone 2, I can't remember. I would have to rewatch it. I really just don't want to. I just remember being in the theater and thinking, why is this breaking its own rules? Okay. Yeah, we're going to need more info than that, Rob. You're going to have to rewatch it.
I was ready to back you up too, Rob. I'm like, I feel like if he's gonna say something, I'll understand what he's saying, and then I'll jump in, and then that. I'm like, all right, I got nothing with you, Rob.
Yeah, he
Doesn't
did make
Halloween
a comment.
Ends break all the rules of the entire franchise? Anyway,
No, you're good. He did make the comment though. He said, "No, I was accidentally drunk when I saw Clown on the Cornfield, but completely sober when I saw Halloween Ends." Okay,
I really like Clown on the Cornfield too. So
fair. Did want to say I saw somebody else join a while ago. Horror Fanatic. Thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate that. Matt, what about you? Anything? You talked about liking this one. So, what stood out to you about Black Phone 2? Any particular scenes or anything?
well, Mike mentioned the scene where it unfolds of what actually happened to their mother, where it wasn't an unaliving, a self-unaliving, where it was actually the grabber who got her because she has the same dreams, which we knew from Black Phone, as her daughter. But like, this is a passed down thing, a power between the women and their family, which I appreciate. And it seems like as they get older, it manifests and gets stronger, which is probably why everything was so much grander in Black Phone 2. But I feel like we needed to take the grabber, maybe not necessarily the Freddy route, but to this supernatural horror iconic route,
Yeah,
for there to be a sequel. Because if we don't do that, then there is no sequel. Like, the movie, they killed the grabber, it was over, it was done. So
right.
And I think that's fine.
but I love my horror icons, and I was looking for something new and something,
Sure.
I guess you wouldn't agree, fresh, but in a sense fresh. And I love when they take the mask off and it peels away the skin and you see everything underneath the face. I really enjoyed her using the dead boys in the lake to try and help stop the grabber as they're coming up out and grabbing him and pulling him back, because again, that's her power growing, which I appreciated as she developed it. And I loved, we just watched a horror movie in the snow and had a blast.
Right.
And this is another one. You don't get a lot of winter slashers like this. They're always in the summer, so everyone can be naked and in bikinis and running around and shit. So, you know, being at a summer camp in the winter was a cool. And then I said my favorite scene is the kitchen scene when the grabber comes for her and she's flying around, and you have the crazy camp owners who think she's possessed by the devil, the super religious people, which they go full in with those characters. So I appreciate that. All of that going on. It was fun. And then it was a great finale fight at the end too, with Finney bashing the grabber's head into the ice. And because he is now a supernatural entity, Does he lose his power? Are there more kids still out there that we don't know about in between here and there, where he can come back somewhere else? Who knows? So
Yeah. I agree with you, and that's you mentioned there the horror in the snow, and that horror couple mentioned that as well. We don't get a lot of that, and so I think I really like the setting. If you can give me some slashers in the snow, that's always going to be a plus as far as I'm concerned. So I did really appreciate that as well. I also really liked the kitchen scene. I thought it was fantastic. And Rob, a couple of things Rob mentioned a while ago, Humphrey, was he didn't like the skates. I didn't think that was that bad. I thought that was fine. Watching, the grabber.
they
skate.
talked about how he was a proficient skater. He was really good at skating when he was at the camp. Like, it was his thing. And then he's a ghost, so he made ghost ice skates. Like, I'm okay with that.
It works. It's fine. Now, his name being Wild Bill or whatever, did they even try? I mean, I guess that's
That was a nickname. Because of the way he looked.
not as big a deal to me there. But I like how the killer was dead and coming through dreams this time. Yeah, and I get that this is where all of the Freddy stuff comes in, right? I mean, I completely understand. It just didn't bother me. I get it. I see why it would bother other people. It just didn't bother me. I thought it was fine. So Matt, we'll let you give a rating first this time. Then, what would you rate the Black Phone 2 on 1?
Well, we got a little bit of time. Let me ask you this. So,
Sure.
I feel like a general horror consensus, especially after the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake came out, was nobody can do Freddy except for Robert Englund. Nobody wants to see a Nightmare on Elm Street movie that doesn't have Robert Englund in it because he is the character. It's not somebody behind a mask mimicking movements and things like that. It is a voice. It is a personality. It is all of these things. So if we can't have another Nightmare on Elm Street, what is wrong with Timu Nightmare on Elm Street giving us some of the feels with a different character and a different face? Because you and I believe, had a conversation, Sean, about some of the horror remakes that if we had called them something else, like the Child's Play remake, if we had just called it Buddy, it would have been a great fucking movie because
Absolutely agree.
it wasn't Child's Play, right?
Right.
Same
Right.
thing with the Wrong Turn remake. Like, if we had just named it something else and we went into it not expecting this thing, then it would have been fun. So I look at Black Phone 2 in the same way. I got pretty much a Nightmare on Elm Street, but it wasn't named a Nightmare on Elm Street. It was Black Phone 2, and instead of fire, it was ice. Like, So I'm good with it. And because of that, I'm giving Black Phone 2, and also I bought the grabber on Fortnite specifically after seeing Black Phone 2. If I had seen Black Phone 1, I would have wasted my money on it. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I think I agree. To me, that was a really good point to what you were saying because, and not just those that you mentioned, not just the Child's Play remake, call it something else and it's better. I think there's a lot of films that can fall into that category. And so this is kind of what that did. The complaint that people have about so many of these things is call it something different, change up the name of the character, and that solves the problem because you're not doing that. Well, that's what the Black Phone did. And so maybe that's why it doesn't bother me so much because, to me, it was entertaining. It was good. Yes, and I apologize that my dog keeps popping in. She hears neighbors right now, and she's very upset, but she likes to give her opinion. Rob said if you like slashers in the snow, check out Shredder. Never seen or heard of Shredder. I don't know if either one of you guys are familiar with Shredder.
Heard of it, haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's not talking about the villain from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I'm going to assume not.
Because I have seen him in 2 movies that I really liked.
Okay. Were they both the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yes. Of
Okay.
course,
Just making sure. I was trying.
and I prefer 2 to 1, so.
I haven't seen any of those in a long time. What was the Horror Fanatic saying a while ago? Honestly, thinking about it, I kind of like the way they brought back the killer in a Freddy Dream way instead of doing a Chucky or Jason overconfident way of coming back. I agree. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Okay, so Mike, let's see. Wait. Damn, I gave Black Phone 2 a 4 out of 10. Rob was harsh with this one. Okay. Mike, what's your rating for Black Phone 2?
So first, I will say, and I know you said the general consensus was that I'm the wrong person for that conversation because I do believe there's room for a new Freddy. I
agree
believe
with you, by the way.
I love Robert Englund and no one can touch his version of Freddy, but we don't. Because my issue with the remake wasn't 100% the Freddy. Like, I didn't like his look, but the way he presented it, I didn't hate the actor. There was just a whole lot of mess happening with that movie. And I'm with you on those other movies. I actually do think that they're good movies. In this particular case, um, again, I feel like it was too paint by numbers for my personal taste because we mentioned like how the Freddy parts of it, but even the why can't I remember her name now? But the main girl in Black Phone,
You talking about the little girl?
yeah,
Gwen?
the sister,
Yeah,
Gwen.
Gwen,
Thank you.
yeah.
Um, even like the way they presented her was like straight out of Dream Warriors. Like with the growth of her power, like everything was too. I have seen this, as
Okay.
opposed to oh, it's inspired. Um, for those reasons, like and hell is freezing over that I am agreeing with Rob. I
Yeah, that
give this a
hurts.
4 out of 10.
Oh.
I
Wow.
was funny enough, I was a lot nicer this morning on my letterbox, but even that didn't feel correct. So I'm bringing it back, and then I just saw Rob's when he put it up, and I'm like, I hate that I'm agreeing with him, but that's where we are at. I will rewatch Black Phone. I will not be rewatching Black Phone 2.
Okay. Wow. All right. For some reason, this is surprising to me. I don't know why. It just surprised me a little bit. Um, I am actually with Matt on this one. So, like I said, I gave the first Black Phone a 7. I enjoyed the second one more. I still don't think it quite gets to the 9, 10 excellent, but I really like this movie. I also gave it an 8. And so, where that puts us, just to kind of let everybody know our overall scores for this. So, Mike basically ranks the Black Phone franchise a 5 out of 10. Total. Matt gives it a 6.5, and I give it a 7.5. So we're close. It's just, yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, now you also have to remember that I rated Black Phone in and of itself by itself, and I said
Sure.
that my rating is boosted a little bit by Black Phone 2 when I consider the two together. So I'd actually put it at a 7 for the
Okay.
whole franchise.
Gotcha. That's fair. Yeah. Let me see if I missed anything else in the chat, and then I want to talk about the grabber a little bit. First of all, Gene, thank you so much for being here. I did put that on the screen a while ago, but didn't get a chance to acknowledge. So thank you so much. Gene said, when it comes to the Black Phone movies, I do like them, but the first one is better. Okay. What do we have here? Still can't get over that name, Dream Warriors. That sounds like a group of Power Ranger villains. That's funny. All right.
You know, Robin looked like he was dressed like one of the people from the movie The Warriors. So maybe
Yeah,
we
he
could bring
did.
Robin back, dressed in that garb, to fight now Freddy-esque. You know, we could get the Dream Warriors, you know? Come out and
It's
play.
weird. That's a good point. It's weird to me they put the grabber in Fortnite. Is that a real thing? Yeah, because Matt, you said
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
And that was a huge controversy. I couldn't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
that it became that discussed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, they put so many horror people into Fortnite. I was so caught off guard that they were like, no, this is where we draw the line. And I mean, again, I kind of get why, but there's so much things in Fortnite that I'm like, it's the grabber, leave it alone.
Yeah.
So currently,
Wow,
as
that's
of
a
right
hot
now,
take.
off the top of my head, you have Ash, you have Michael Myers, you have Jason, you have Billy the Puppet from Saw, you have the Grabber, Xenomorph, trying to think, and Ghostface, and Leatherface are all characters.
Sure.
But like you said, the controversy was because of what was alluded to, who the Grabber is. How are you going to put this person who preys on children in a game promoted to children?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which is fair.
but I'm an adult killing children, so I pick a character that does those things.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you guys think about this comment from Horror Fanatic? Nobody hate me, but I like the look of the grabber more than Freddy.
The funniest thing is I think that's a really hot take, but I also it's not that crazy because I'm like, it's just your miles may vary because Freddy is very iconic. And I think that's why like it feels such like a hot take. But then the one thing about the grabber that I will give, the look is sick. I like the look of this. Obviously, it does no harm that it's hot Ethan Hawke, but Grabber looks awesome.
Okay.
But it's just weird to hear out loud that something looks better than Freddy.
Yeah, it's different. You're not going to hear that very often. So yeah, I agree with you. We have another guest down there.
This is my daughter Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Zoe is the most unafraid child I've ever met. I grew up watching horror movies, absolutely terrified my entire life until I got older. And she has watched stuff that I watched when I was a child and has not flinched once.
Wow.
And can name you almost all of the ghost faces. So
Very nice.
she wanted to come say hi. As far as the Grabber goes, I like the idea of the interchangeable mask for the different moods. That is really cool. But I don't know how practical that is in a setting, whereas Freddy is just a face that can emote and do things. Like, is he going to stop in the middle of it and pull a mask out of the back of it to change it from a smile to a frown? Like,
yeah, to do something. Yeah, that's fair. Rob said the first time I saw stills of the Grabber's mask, I thought it was the dumbest looking thing I'd ever seen, but on screen it looks terrific. I agree, and it's kind of one of those things too, because I was looking the other day, because I have a couple of masks as well in my collection. I have a Freddy mask, I have a Michael mask, and I saw where you can buy a mask of the Grabber the other day, and I was trying to picture that up here, and I'm like, I think it looks really cool in the movies, but I don't know that one's going to look that cool just sitting on my shelf like that. So maybe that would be going too far. I'm not 100% sure. I can't decide. Part of me still thought about it, but I couldn't decide.
I need you to take your shirt off and hold a belt so I can see what you'd look like with the Grabber mask on.
You don't need that.
You need that Ethan Hawke dad bod that he has in the movie to pull it off.
Yeah, we're close. Are any of you familiar with Mr. Clump from The Nutty Professor?
Yes.
Can he sit there in a chair and hold the belt? Would that be the same thing?
I think I'd be more terrified coming upstairs seeing Mr. Clump holding a belt in that mask than I would have been Ethan Hawke. So
no, it's not quite that bad, but we definitely have the dad bod thing going on. I did lose 5 pounds in the last week, though. I just found out, so I was a little thankful for that. All right, I have a question for you guys, though, real quick. I meant to touch on this earlier, and then we'll come back to the Grabber. So, Rob, I was listening to Slasher Radio, and Rob had an idea that I actually thought was incredible. Because we were talking about Freddy and can we get another Nightmare on Elm Street? Can we get a new Freddy? That kind of thing. I really liked the idea that Rob gave on Slasher Radio. We had the Hellraiser film that came out on Hulu a couple of years ago, where we had a female Pinhead. What would you think about a female Freddy Krueger? And I heard names like Fiona Dourif, I think, was one name that got mentioned to possibly play her, because then you can get away from it's not Robert Englund, because any actor that you put in that role is going to get compared to what Robert Englund did. What if they changed it up to where we got a female Freddy? Maybe it's Freddy's daughter or something, who knows? But what if we got a female Freddy? How would that work for you?
In theory, I love the idea of flipping the script. Specifically, just in general, I will always advocate for, especially for villains, because I love them dearly. But I will always advocate for flipping the gender or making them a person of color. But when I say things like that too, I need the writers and the director, but mostly the writers also need, if they're going to make the Freddy a woman, we need a woman writer. Because the issue with doing that flip right now is, like you said, Freddy is so iconic that people don't even want him changed. And that includes his lore and legacy, which, like we said, what he's alluded to be and what Wes Craven even flat out said, but not in the movies, is this is what he is.
Right.
Obviously, we know women can be that as well, but it's weird to do that in this movie.
Yeah.
How would they touch on it? So I would, if we had the women writers and then said, hey, you know what, let's just do the woman director, then yes, give us the woman Freddy. And if we're doing that, then I want Judy Greer.
Okay. No, that's a good choice. And yeah, I 100% see what you're saying. you would almost have to make what was it Rob said, Frederica Krueger, I think is what he called her when he was trying to make his point. But she would almost need to be like a teacher instead of a janitor, because we do seem to have female teachers out there that do those kind of things. But that's another topic for another day. Matt, what do you think about the idea of a female Freddy?
I'd go with Franny Krueger personally over Frederica. That's just me. But I guess if you want Frederica, you could still call her Freddy, and Freddy works. Freddy could be gender neutral. I'm good with that.
Sure.
I love the idea of Fiona Dourif. I think she would make a great, from everything I've seen her in, from The Pit to all of the stuff that I've seen her with the Child's Play franchise and everything.
Right.
I think she'd be great. I would also throw Danielle Harris's name out there to prove Mike wrong, that she's a great actress, and let her take a shot at it. Why not? Right?
I mean, I would watch it. So yeah,
my current favorite actress right now is Florence Poe, and I'd be interested to see that as well, because she molds into so many different roles that she plays very well. But I also agree with everything Mike said. I am absolutely for it. I hate this whole idea of not being able to play with the genders or the race of certain characters because that's who the character is, as if it negates everything that already exists that you can still go watch, that you still have. It doesn't. It's there. And we can make these stories for people with female writers, with writers of color and things like that. Look at what Jordan Peele did with Candyman. And how he took that franchise and the stories he told there, and everything he's done. So I would love any of those takes. But I'm down for a female Freddy.
What about another name that I think got mentioned, and this may have been who Rob said first when he was talking about this role? What about Samara Weaving? Somebody mentioned Samara Weaving.
And don't get me wrong, I think Florence Poe is absolutely beautiful, but I think she is too pretty to play Freddy. I really do.
Okay.
I don't think she has the grit in it.
Okay. Nope, that's fair. Mike?
She's fine. I do enjoy her. I don't think she would be able to do Freddy, Frederica, Franny, whoever we want to call them. And this has nothing to, a little bit to do with her because she is the actress. But the main reason why I don't want her to be, or I wouldn't consider her for that role, is unless they are flipping the entire script and setting A Nightmare on Elm Street in Australia, leave her the hell alone and stop making her put on this ridiculous American accent that she keeps breaking in every movie.
Fair.
Let her be Australian. She's better when she doesn't have any restrictions. Let her be Australian.
Yep, that's a fair point. Rob also mentioned Sophie Thatcher. That might could be a good pick as well. I do like Rob's next comment, though. I'll put that up there real quick. Nia DaCosta direct, and I think we're making this movie right now. Very possible. That would be a good choice as well.
So
let's
I
get back.
Googled it, and I got a list of females that apparently AI thought. Top of the list is Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
As a female Freddy. And then there was Florence, Lena Headey, Stephanie Beatriz, and Kate Blanchett were who Google AI threw out as female Freddys.
To be female
gave reasons to, so.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's go back to the grabber for just a minute. We'll try to get back on topic for a minute here anyway. So with the grabber, and Matt, you mentioned earlier that you were kind of looking for a new villain, right? Looking for someone new. What do you think about the grabber now? Because we do have, stuff is still happening with these other guys, right? I'm not saying the grabber is even in the same category as the Michaels, the Jasons, the Freddys, the Leatherface, Chucky, Ghostface, all of these. But for what we've got in the last few years, we have Art the Clown. I even heard one person mention Megan one time. Now we've got the grabber. Do you think that the grabber has, if this franchise was to continue, does the grabber have potential to become one of those iconic villains like that, or not so much?
I think he does. I think we have a very good foundation at this point. I think we have built a nice foundation, and now I think we need to build the aura of the grabber a little bit more, I guess. We need to make him seem a little more dangerous. We have fought the same family for the last 2 movies, and he's got his ass kicked by this family for the last 2 movies. I
Yeah.
need to start seeing him build up a body count. I need to start seeing him become a little more menacing, and I do think we can get there. I am personally, despite everything I just said, not a fan of the Terrifier movies. I like Terrifier. I think 2 or 3 the best of the 3 films. I enjoyed 3. I think the most. I don't know why art doesn't do it for me. Megan was fine, but Megan 2 was.
Yeah.
So I would put the 2 Black Phone movies above those 2 franchises, and The Grabber has potential to, in my opinion, exceed both of those characters overall. So, but
Okay.
again, right now we're just at a foundation. Like I said,
Sure.
I feel like Black Phone 2, in my opinion, is the movie, and Black Phone is the prequel. It's the setup, it's the backstory to get us to where we needed to get, an iconic killer in The Grabber. So we've got the foundation, and hopefully we can go up from here.
All right. Horror Fanatic says Megan doesn't deserve to be an iconic slasher, especially after the sequel, changing of genres. I agree. Rob, he's always Ghostface isn't a character; it's laundry.
Rob, you are going to cause an apocalypse because we can't be going 3 for 3 today. I love me some Scream.
Yeah.
I love me some Scream, but I hate that we put Ghostface as a singular like entity when I'm like, it's not one Ghostface.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
Ghostface isn't the killer. So I hate Ghost. I love Scream. I hate Ghostface as a horror icon.
That's a fair point. It's a really fair point. And we're going to come back because I'm going to ask you another question here in a moment as well. I think The Grabber could become a horror icon depending on the quality of the next few films. Very good point. Rob says, yes, Terrifier 3 is the best, and it's just okay. Those movies are not good. I do like Art as a character. Okay. But yeah, The Grabber could go on the modern slasher Mount Rushmore. Maybe.
Real quick, to Mike's point.
Yeah.
I agree. Canonically, throughout the franchise, it is not the same killer. It is laundry. However, when I look at characters like Jason or Leatherface, it is different people behind the mask. It's not canonically different people behind the mask,
Right.
but it is, and it is essentially a look in a suit, which is kind of how I look at Ghostface. Is the killer is the killer. It's Ghostface, and depending on who's wearing it, whether it's a Kane Hodder for a Jason or a CJ Graham, depends on the performance.
I get what you're saying. For me, the difference, though, is like, and you said, the difference is the actors are different. Our character, the horror icon, is the same. When it comes to Ghostface, the reason why in each movie we like the killers.
Hey.
This did happen.
Friday the 13th Part 5 is underrated as fuck.
It's a lot of fun. I agree.
When it comes to Scream and Ghostface, partially a big part of what we are in love with the Ghostface is the character of that Ghostface, because we all rank which Ghostface we like more.
Sure.
Billy's at the top for some, Jill's at the top for some. That it's when they're revealed is who we really like. If there were no reveals and it was just like this suit, it wouldn't be as iconic as it is.
Okay.
That's true.
Maybe. It's a good point. Mike, let me ask your thoughts now on The Grabber as a horror icon. Where do you think we stand?
I think we already have him.
Okay.
And his original form is amazing. But The Grabber, like I said, hot shirtless Ethan Hawke, I'm here for. I like the look of Grabber. I like Ethan Hawke. As a horror icon, I won't probably ever see it because I'm trying to think how they would even do more sequels with what they're doing without further digging themselves in a nightmare hole.
Yeah.
Because the more they do this, I'm gonna just keep seeing Freddy unless they do find a way to separate that enough. If they can do that, I think the look is cool. I love his little Babadook cat in the first one. So I don't, as a horror icon, I think he could get there. I don't want to keep being this mean, but I think part of the reason why he could get there is because the bar for horror icons, modern horror icons, is so low.
It's gotten there. Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess, for me, I'm kind of on the fence because this is going to lead into the next question I have for you guys. But I wouldn't mind. I definitely think there's potential there for the next maybe big horror icon. It's really going to depend on like a lot of what we've said, like how it plays out, what happens in the films, how much nightmare type stuff is there, how do the films do. There's a lot there. I used to be, and I'm really on the fence now because for the longest time I've been one of those people that, I love Michael, I love Jason, I love Freddy, I love Leatherface, Ghostface, Chucky. I like all these villains, and I wanted more. I'm like, you know what? I don't care if it's Halloween number 24. Like, give me another one. Give me more Michael. Give me more Jason. Give me more Freddy. Give me more something. As some of the later films in these franchises have come out, I'm like, fuck, that was terrible. Why did you do that? And so now part of me is like, you know what? We can always go back and watch the originals. Maybe we don't need to keep, if they're going to be this bad, maybe we don't need to keep doing this. So to get some new icons would be great. There's potential there, but I don't want it to be overdone either, because take Art the Clown, for example, and you and I went through the Terrifier series, Mike, and we determined going through it that we liked it better than we thought we did. But how long can that go on? How long can you keep doing that? You do 4 or 5, eventually it's going to get old. So to have a new one, there's Bella again, she agrees. I don't know. I think we're on the fence. Maybe I see it could happen, but I'm just not sure if it needs to or if I want it to. Where would you like to see another Black Phone film now? That's, if this franchise is going to continue, if we're going to get Black Phone 3, what would you like to see? We'll start with you, Matt.
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, because that was actually where I was going. Because
Okay.
Mike said he didn't know where we could go without going farther down the Freddy route, and I actually had an idea that just kind of popped into my head. Instead of going more deep into the Freddy lore, let's go full on Friday the 13th, Part 7. We take Gwen as an adult, married, who marries someone who is abusive and alcoholic like her father. They go back to the lake. There is a whole thing. She has a psychic freak out that brings the grabber back from the dead, and now he is back from the dead in real life, powered by her psychic abilities, revived. And then we've gotten away from the dreams and the Freddy. We can have a decrepit, but also not too decrepit because he was in ice, he was frozen, version of the grabber, and he is here in real life to kill and murder. And then we've got Gwen as an adult fighting back against the grabber, and maybe losing and getting a new final girl in the franchise, working, surviving and overcoming the grabber. That's where I'd go. And again, we've got to boost up the body count. We've got to have a little more from the grabber if we're gonna make him a little more than what he is.
Yeah, I completely agree, because Rob had a point, and I think it's just hard to say right now. Jason hasn't had a movie in 17 years, and he's still recognizable to everyone. Because the grabber,
but he's also had
years. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We don't know yet. Yeah, we don't. After 2 films, we don't know yet, because he also mentioned a comment like, he said, would my mom know who the grabber is? I doubt it. Right now, I think you're exactly right. Now, if it continues on, that might change. But yeah.
But
right
Rob,
now,
my question for you is: after Friday the 13th Part 2, would your mom know who Jason was with the sack on his head? If there was no 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of that. Again, he needs time. He needs sequels. And we're not in the age of movies where we can pump out a new Black Phone every year.
and it be any good anyway.
Well, to be fair, a lot of those movies, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, we love them. We grew up on them.
Sure.
They're not good movies. So
No, this is fair. That's a good point.
Well, and that's a really good point to what I was going to bring up too, of why I think it's going to be very hard to have any modern horror icon in the way that we once had, because I think there's a bottom, or not a bottom tier, but a second tier of your your Pennywise, your Jigsaw, your Hatchet, and even like Hatchet is, to me, Hatchet is niche. I love Hatchet, but Hatchet is for the horror fans. He's not as recognizable, or people
Mainstream,
don't
sure.
just know him mainstream wise. Art is getting there, but I think Art, if the fourth movie doesn't happen after all, or if it's not great, or if the off-screen stuff kind of hinders
Sure.
what the fourth movie does, I think Art will immediately be cut off at the knees if the fourth isn't the strongest thing that they put out. I think if it's anything, Art's done for.
It's fair.
I think now the new era of horror watchers, horror movie fans, they want more deeper storytelling than our horror icons were giving, because most of those movies, while we can see the value in the story as well as the slash, in comparison to what we're getting now, the plots are very like secondary to the slash.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're not gonna see things, because I think the closest thing we would have, and I will preface this by saying the fictional version of these people, because we all know that they were not good people in real life at this point. But I think the closest thing that we're going to have to modern horror icons is not going to be villain route. It's going to be the protagonist. And that's Ed and Lorraine Warren. Because that's where we're getting the more sequels and stuff. Elise from Insidious is becoming iconic.
Right.
People are cheering for her. Like, I think that's what we're getting, because nobody wants to love the villains anymore, because if you like certain villains, that says something about your character now. Like, there's all that discourse online because you like this person. Well, this person's it. We steered away from Jason's just cool. Freddy was awesome. Like, now everything has such... We're putting so much stuff onto what it is someone likes about a horror movie.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a really good point. And, I mean, I'm still in that category, but again, I'm old. I'm going to cheer for the villain. That's just the way I am. I mean, like I said, I like Negan from The Walking Dead. I made a comment the other day.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Matt. You're good.
That's also why every time me and Sean do a movie, he's always hesitant to talk about how he likes to see boobs. So...
I don't know what you're talking about, Matt. You're thinking about somebody else. That's not me.
Go check out our Wrong Turn episode. See if I'm wrong.
But why? Why throw me under the bus like this? I don't understand. I had a dream a while back, and I was telling some of my coworkers about it. I had this crazy ass dream where Jason, Michael, Freddy, Candyman, Chucky, Leatherface, these people were real, and they worked for me. And so whatever I needed done, I was sending them out to do my business for me. And I made the mistake of telling some of my coworkers about this. They were legitimately concerned about my mindset and asking.
That sounds like an awesome dream. Like,
it was a fantastic dream. I loved it. It was great.
Especially because now you have to figure which killer would be right for the job that you need them to do. Like,
yeah.
I will also add, Sean, start writing that script, because I would watch a movie like that.
I should work on that. There's a thought. Yeah, I can get you and Isaiah to help me after you finish Maniac Sock, and we can start working on this.
I don't know why I didn't think of that, Mike, because we were talking about getting him. So I think I've told you this, Sean, that I have been it's not a movie. It's not really anything. It's just this thing that I've been writing forever, where I took all of the iconic killers and brought them into one universe by using the idea of Jason Goes to Hell that Jason is a Deadite and making everyone essentially a Deadite. And we could do that here too. We could bring the
We're onto
Grabber back with the
something.
Necronomicon
Absolutely.
and let him be a killer. That is also an option.
We are definitely onto something here. Let me read Rob's comment, and then I got one more question for you guys before we get ready to wrap up here. Rob said it was easier to get that crossover. Everyone knows your exposure in the 80s and 90s. The pop culture landscape wasn't so fractured then. Everyone was watching the same stuff. That's fair. That's a good point.
Fair.
Again, I agree. Since we've been talking about horror icons, what would you guys, because recently again, Slasher Radio, I keep plugging them, but they're one of my favorites to listen to out there, along of course with Getting Off and Voices from the Mausoleum. But I recently I love to call in there and harass Mikey. If any of you don't listen to Slasher Radio, don't know Mikey Bones, I give him shit constantly, and it's one of my favorite things to do in life. But I called in and I made the comment with the quality of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, because there's some very solid ones, there's some good ones, there's also some trash, and unfortunately that's the way it is in a lot of these franchises. But because of that quality in that franchise gets so bad, and Freddy goes from being scary to a comedian for the most part, I wasn't sure. I just made the comment. I didn't say I felt that way, but I'm just like, I don't even know if Freddy deserves to be on Mount Rushmore. So my question for you guys is, who would you put on your horror Mount Rushmore? The 4 villains that you would put on your horror Mount Rushmore. Let's start with you, Mike.
I mean, I'm gonna just go ahead and put, because I do look at it from a horror fan standpoint and not just like who I like. I look at who elevated the genre, who did these things for the genre. And while I know I'm gonna contradict myself by excluding someone, I think these others just deserve to be there.
Sure.
I do think you definitely keep Freddy, because he is the most charismatic horror icon that we have. We don't have a Chucky without Freddy, who is one of my favorite villains of all time.
I agree.
So you have to put him in it. You do have to put Michael Myers, and that kills me because I am not a Michael Myers fan. Most people know this about me already. They know that that's not my franchise, not my guy. But yes, he goes on there.
Okay.
Jason goes on there. One of the most recognizable characters. And then this is where I lose people because I don't put Leatherface.
Okay.
I understand what he did, and I understand him in the horror icon stratosphere, and I will get why people put him in the core 4 of it all. I replace him with Chucky because Chucky is a personal favorite. Chucky's got my body count that I need. He's got the quips. Like, I like Chucky. I'm just such a huge fan.
Okay. Real quick, Horror Fanatic said Jason, Michael, Ghostface, Freddy. Let me see if I missed anything. I honestly wouldn't put Leatherface on either. He isn't that iconic to me. Okay. Matt.
I am a lot in the same camp as Mike. I have 3 of the same people on my Mount Rushmore. And when I think about it, because there's talks of Mount Rushmores for everything, right? But
sure,
the actual Mount Rushmore is a bunch of old dead guys, right? So you got Mike has to be there, because if there is no Michael, there is no Jason. I mean, you can say what you want about Leatherface. I also would not put him there. I also believe that it is not that iconic. I feel like the 2003 remake is the best movie in the entire franchise, and a lot of the other stuff can get cut. Especially when you look at how he is in the original movie, where he's basically just a beaten dog that squeals like a pig and does other people's bidding. I'm not scared of that guy. I've said that plenty of times. Sure. So, and then Freddy, again, if I'm picking a Wes Craven character, I'm picking Freddy, because Freddy did everything that Ghostface did before Ghostface ever did it. A New Nightmare was the first meta slasher before Scream even ever came out.
Right, absolutely.
So you got Freddy, you got Michael. Jason and Freddy also were two of the biggest pop culture icons of the late 80s, early 90s. And
Sure.
as Mike said, elevated horror beyond what it was and made it mainstream and made it popular. Um, for my last one, I want this because I want to recognize more so, I guess, the actor than the character, because he is an amazing he was an amazing person. I loved him, and I feel like the character didn't really get a fair shake. And I'm going to put Candyman as my last one. Tony Todd is an icon in horror. Is one of the coolest people I've ever got to meet in person. The character in and of itself, even though 2 of the 3 movies he was in were awful, not
Yes.
counting his cameo in the new one. But the character, despite the fact that he only had 3 movies and 2 of them were really bad, has lived on, and also representation matters, right? We can't just stick a bunch of white guys up on Mount Rushmore. It's not fair. So
We
I'm gonna
did
go
it.
Candyman.
Yeah.
I know we did.
Oh, that's fair, and I like that Candyman pick.
Me too.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I like that. I'm very, very. I mean, so again, when I made this comment to Slasher Radio, Mikey thought I was saying that I wouldn't put Freddy on there, and I could see how he got that. I was just saying I think it's questionable. But when you look at the impact and you look at real icons, I just feel like Freddy, Michael, and Jason are the biggest 3 there possibly are. Those 3 have changed horror. They've changed slashers for sure. I don't think you can exclude any of them. So I'm in 100% agreement with you two that those need to be the 3. Leatherface is tough because I do think, I mean, it started with Leatherface in my opinion, but I also feel like that character, similar to what you were saying, Matt, is so all over the place. Sometimes that character is not scary.
Sometimes
two.
in the Illuminati.
Yeah, I know. Part 2 is not good. Part 4 is not good. That Netflix movie is not great. There's another one in there somewhere. I mean, it's just not only are the movies bad, but the character himself is not scary. I don't. I know Rob doesn't like that TCM remake, and so he made that comment a while ago. I don't like it as well as the original. I do still like the original the best, but I think the scariest Leatherface comes from that remake. That Leatherface is fucking terrifying. So it's hard for me to not put Leatherface on there, but because again the character is so back and forth and all over the place, and you really don't know what you're getting. For me, at one point I would have said Ghostface because I'm a huge Scream fan, but based on what Mike was saying, it's not always the same person, which makes it hard for me to put Ghostface up there. And so actually my list is going to be the exact same as Mike's. For me, it's Chucky. I would put Chucky in that 4th spot. Chucky is iconic. Chucky is fantastic. Overall, I think that franchise has less misses. That franchise has 1 bad movie, in my opinion, whereas the rest of the franchises have a couple here and there. So I think Chucky deserves to be up there. But Candyman is very solid. If someone said Leatherface, I would get it. If they said Ghostface, I would get it. There's so many great ones. Just don't tell me Art the Clown because he doesn't deserve to be there. I thought I had somebody else in mind earlier. Pinhead. You could say Pinhead, and I would get it. Another iconic, even though maybe not the best movie. So there's a lot of options out there, in my opinion, as well.
Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter would deserve to be up there. I saw something mentioned a while ago. Candyman is the best horror movie of the 90s, and I think the second one is underrated. I like it quite a bit. Okay.
I don't hate the second one. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. The third one is so bad.
Rob says did you see Rob's first Mount Rushmore that he listed? For the love of God, my Mount Rushmore is just a Leprechaun 4 times. Please stop.
I love
The Leprechaun movies are fun. They're fun movies, but Rob, don't do that, please. Let me go back to his other one. Sirius, Michael, Jason, Freddy, and Norman Bates. Norman Bates is fair, and yes, not the Vince Vaughn one because that's terrible. But yeah, I could see Norman Bates. I mean, if you want to go back to where it really started, then that's kind of where it really started, Psycho from 1960. So I get that as well. Let me see. Do you have a comment, Mike?
Oh, I was gonna say I love that pick. The reason why it would not stand for me, while Norman Bates' Psycho, the original Psycho, is extremely iconic, it's not until I will always credit that the love, and I know there's outliers, but the love for Psycho 2 and the sequels, we have the love that we have seen surfaced because of Scream 6. Nobody was talking Psycho 2. Nobody was talking Psycho 2 until Scream 6.
Okay. That's interesting. That's we're going to go someplace with that probably next week. I'll come back to that in a minute. Nancy Downs, Malachi, Pinhead, Pennywise, very interesting picks. Not names you hear all the time, so interesting picks there as well. Let's see. I didn't put Ghostface on my Rushmore because he's one of few slashers who weren't invincible. That's fair. Regular people in costume, so that's okay. I get that.
Leatherface is also just a dude in a costume.
It's also fair. I picked the ones that I picked because I watch their movies like crazy. I totally get that. I understand that as well. Yeah, okay. I think that's going to wrap it up. But before we get off here, do either one of you have any more comments as far as the Black Phone, the Grabber, any of the stuff we've talked about? Anything else you want to say tonight before we wrap up?
End it now.
Now, that's fair.
Black Phone 2's fine.
We don't need any more. Matt?
When are we getting Black Phone 3?
That's awesome. One side to the other. That's fantastic. Mike, Matt, thank you guys so much for being here. This has been a lot of fun. I've absolutely loved this. Some great conversations, some great rabbit trails we went down. Thank you, everybody who has been in the chat and commenting and talking about this stuff with us. Before we get off here, though, Mike, go ahead and take a minute to, again, promote your stuff, talk about what's out there, talk about what's coming up.
Thank you. Yeah, as always, just go ahead, follow the Instagram and Blue Sky, Mike and Serial. That's Serial like the killer, not the box, for any updates that I have coming up, because I do have some more stuff that will be coming very, very soon. But also follow Maniac Sock Shorts for updates on everything Maniac Sock, the short film that I am producing. And follow Voices from the Mausoleum YouTube channel. Because again, we are almost done with voting, and the actual award show, the live show, will be towards the end of September. More information to come at a later time.
Perfect. Matt, how about you, sir? Tell us where we can find you and what you've got going on.
As I said, you guys can follow me everywhere at Getting Offed. Also, please check out Creation World. We do that every Thursday. It is it's a podcast for fans of just everything nerd. Currently, what we've been doing is one of the hosts picks a movie, and then we all sit down and watch it and review it. Some of us have seen the movie, some of us haven't. It was my pick, and this Thursday we are doing Wreck-It Ralph because my best friend Travis has never seen it, and I don't know how he's never seen Wreck-It Ralph, so I'm making him watch it. And it's going to be a good time because he's going to fucking love it, and I'm going to make fun of him for being stubborn. And then, like I said, Sunday, Katie is reviewing Joyride after her first experience with the Fast and the Furious prequel. So if you guys are interested to see how she thought about that, come check it out. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Yes, definitely check out Voices from the Mausoleum. Check out Mike and Serial. Check out Creation World. Check out Getting Off. All great channels. I recommend all of them tremendously. A lot of fun to listen to. Always good information as well. Let me see. Tomorrow, like I said, I have an episode coming out on Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007 with that horror couple, and then just in a couple of days they're back again to talk about Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Next week, live stream Tuesday night, so September the 1st, 6 o'clock. Mike returns, as well as Isaiah from The Bitter Wolf. They're going to be on with me, and we are talking Psycho. We're going to talk about the 4 Psycho films plus the remake, so 5 films actually. Might even talk some Bates Motel if they've seen that TV series in there. We'll rank those films, talk about those, talk about Norman Bates. So yeah, next week's live is all Psycho related. So we'll hope you will join us for that. Until then, yes, again, thank you so much for everybody that has been here. Thank you both, Mike, Matt, for coming on with me and doing this. Everyone subscribe. A lot of fun stuff coming. So subscribe so you don't miss anything. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there. Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, Letterboxd. Just search Sean's Horror Corner and you can find it. So again, thank you to everyone involved. Do all those things that I ask you to do, and I will see you soon.